Brew Nation. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Really means a lot to me. I got asked a question today. This one was from email, and it was from a group that wants to do an SMO, a site management organization, which used to be a bad word in this industry about a decade ago, and now I don't even know what that means. There's so many different models for sites. There's site networks, there's hub and spoke models, there's embedded, there's standalone. So I don't really know what site management organization is. I mean, for all I know, Yuma Clinical Trials might be one. Everyone has a different definition, it seems like. But they want to launch one, and they're in Canada. And actually, this might be good timing for them. I just did a podcast recently on the FDA's push for, they basically greenlit that states in the United States, states and Indian reservations can import drugs from Canada. And my initial thought before doing any research on the topic was, yeah, it would make sense to have more sites in Canada at this point. So you guys might be uh, timing this right. So you want to find family physician clinics and do research within them. This would be called an embedded site model. Whether you do one site or 20 sites across Canada, it doesn't matter. You can call yourself whatever you want, an SMO, a site network, an embedded model of 20 independent sites. This is a choose your own adventure type of thing. The business plan is yours to make. Now, there's a strong rationale for why family docs are perfect places to do this, and you're not alone. You're not even alone in Canada. The question is, how do you structure deals with them? I've done videos on this, I've done podcasts on this. So message me if you want the links. You can either choose to pay them as independent contractors, you can choose to pay them as employees, or you can choose to make them partners in your business. And you can choose to make each one a partner in their own clinic, or you could make them all partners in the bigger company that includes all the clinics. Again, this is a choose your own adventure type of thing. The beautiful thing about this model, it's my favorite, at least when you start out. I think you will eventually need a place bigger than what a physician clinic will offer you, which is why you will eventually become like a hub and spoke model. But that's not the, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's like 2 or 3 years away from you if you are successful, right? So it makes sense. Family docs have patient pipelines, trusted relationships, established infrastructure. You have a low capex, capital expenditures. You leverage existing exam rooms, staff, EMRs. I've used the clinic's phlebotomist, centrifuge, blood drawing chairs, exam table. I mean, it's perfect. You don't need to buy almost anything. You need to buy typically an investigational product, storage. And the problem with these doctors' offices is space. You're going to run out of space. Just doing one study. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm still amazed at how much stuff we get for one study. Boxes upon boxes of diaries and laptops and binders and ECGs and equipments and lab kits and shipping kits, and there's just so much stuff. You do like 4 studies in a doctor's office, you're filling up an entire room with this stuff. Not to mention where your coordinators and monitors going to go. So that's clearly the con of this whole thing is space, flexibility, etc. But I think the strategy is perfect. I've done it myself. Now, there's a growing trend towards decentralized and more pragmatic, cost-effective trials. Primary care settings are the gold for this real-world evidence. If we ever get to a world where, I know you're in Canada, but in the United States, they're pushing for, especially this guy who's now in charge of CBER, the Center for Biologics and Evaluation Research. They're pushing for real world evidence, more and more real world evidence. But they said it's so far just for rare diseases and conditions where there are unmet solutions. But eventually, I mean, if it works out, I think they do it for everything else. The impetus seems to be lowering drug prices. So that's something to consider, just being pragmatic about it. Now, are family physicians ever PIs? They do it all the time. And you can start out with a low risk type of study. Like I said, the post-marketing one, the observational registry. Then any subsequent physician that you get, you put them as a sub-investigator on your study so that they start building up research experience. So by the time you apply for them, they have research experience. Now, you still got to have that first study where a sponsor says, yes, you could be a PI, but it certainly helps if they have investigator experience on their resume. Now, in Canada, these SPOR networks and practice-based research networks, they're the ones doing this. They're already doing working with family doctors and co-investigators. So there's already this model that exists. In the US, there's obviously this is probably where the model was created, but this happens all the time. Now, again, if you're going to do the physician's office, I think it's very smart, but you are going to have to improvise and you are going to have to get creative with how you're going to have space because space is not unlimited in these places, especially in more congested areas like Toronto. So, which I imagine at least some of your clinics will be. You got to identify and educate and find your first PI. Make sure your first PI is very well connected. Make sure your first PI has a huge private practice. We lucked out in Yuma. The guy that we ended up partnering with, his name is Dr. Smith. He was not actually our first investigator we spoke to. We had another couple of them we talked to, but they didn't check all the boxes. And Dr. Smith checked all the boxes. Largest private practice in Yuma for internal medicine that's not hospital affiliated. Well connected with just about every specialist in town. Well respected, not just amongst his peers, but amongst the community. Those were things that I need. And number four, not an asshole. All right. Now that one is optional. Okay. I've worked with assholes before, but to me, at my age, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I don't have time to deal with assholes. And so I don't want that in my life. But again, that's optional. For me, it's not optional, but Dr. Smith passed all of those with flying colors, including the not being an asshole part, in case you're watching. We love you, Dr. Smith. Um, the clinic's never going to be ready for the site for study. They're unlikely going to have a temperature controlled, double locked, restricted access room for drug storage, so you're going to have to make one. They're unlikely going to have enough space, like I said. You can make it work. And the good news is when you get your first study, you don't need to go crazy. You're not going to get 10 studies off the bat. You're going to get one study. You're going to probably enroll a couple people. You're probably going to screen fail a whole bunch more. And you're going to figure out the day to day, okay, we can't use exam room 1 and 3 on Mondays and Wednesdays, but we can use them on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. And we can't use the centrifuge from 8 to 10 because that's when the phlebotomist is using it. So we got to work around that. You're going to learn all that stuff. And that's just the drawback of sharing space with a clinician, with a active clinic. You'll eventually grow out of that, and this is why you evolve into the hub and spoke model. Then build the team. Recruit 1 or 2 coordinators per clinic. If the clinics are close enough to each other, obviously they'll travel. In the beginning, it was me and Jaime. We have the videos to prove it on our playlist, my channel on YouTube. You look up. I'm documenting my clinic journey. That's what you gotta look up. You'll see. Even before I came to Yuma, I made videos of the idea. Up until this week, I uploaded another one to the playlist so you can see the progress. Regulatory setup. I don't know Canadian regulatory. They have their own. I'm not the right person for that, but you can just these days AI has it, and so just Google Gemini it. Um, hey, I'm looking to build a research clinic in Canada. What is the regulatory setup and regulatory requirements needed? It's gonna tell you. Use the reasoning model. It will tell you. Operational templates, contracts, budgets, all that stuff. Again, my company will help you do that. DSCS, we do it for you. We don't teach you contracts and budgets. We do it for you. We teach you, excuse me, we teach you everything else, including how to get studies. We help you get studies, including how to answer all those pesky IRB questionnaires and all that stuff. I think that's basically it. If I'm not mistaken anything, oh, there's pitfalls too. So, the space issue is one of them. Having monitoring space, overloading physicians or making them overpromising and then underperforming, meaning money, and keep their time commitment realistic. So 2 to 4 hours a week max. You want them in the clinic seeing patients so that you have a pipeline of patients. You also, on the same hand, don't want to neglect quality management. So that means regular internal audits, sponsor style, focus on source data verification, things like that. Use remote monitoring technologies if you can, like use eSource, Creo. Shout out to Creo. They're an amazing sponsor. This will help your monitors too, because Creo is your eSource, your eReg, your CTMS, but you give monitors access to it, and they see only the parts that they need to, so they don't actually have to come all the time. They can do most of their monitoring visits from home. And this is one of the things we've been doing. We try to go once a month to every clinic that we're associated with and do like a research day or just a lunch and learn. Hey, these are the studies we have. We'd appreciate referrals. You'll be amazed at how many clinicians, overworked clinicians, need constant reminders. And then it's going to take longer than you think. So you get a doctor, he or she says, yeah, I'm interested, let's go. And then it's May right now, and you don't have a study until September. So if you're not communicating regularly with that clinician, by the time you get your study in September, that clinician may have already forgot about you. What are you talking about? What study? So you got to constantly not bug them, but you got to feel them out. Let them know you're working. Let them know it takes time. You're the trained professional. You know what you're doing. All in all, I think it's a good idea. It might even be great timing for you, and you can do this. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Let me know if I missed anything. Bye bye.